Hello and welcome to this edition of Turnaround Marriage Live. And my friends, if you're out there today and you've been stuck in your marriage for a long time, maybe you've even really wondered why and you've tried a lot of things. And we're going to talk about exactly those things today and what it's going to take to really do something about that. But first of all, guys, we want to make sure that you have found us on our Facebook page. If you search Turnaround Marriage, you're going to find our coaching page. Make sure you like that. You're also going to find our group. We got about 1,700 people in there. Make sure you apply to join. It just takes a second, couple of buttons to click on. We'll let you right in, and that way you're getting all the resources and encouragement from us. Also, if you're finding us on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, and share our content. We would appreciate that so much. So yes, Rachel, we want to talk about one of those things it's going to take. My goodness, like you might even say, how can you stay stuck in your marriage? Well, one way you can be sure that you're going to stay stuck in your marriage is to be uncoachable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that uncoachability is what we see over and over again that keeps people stuck when they're not open to a new way of doing things, when they basically are closed-minded about doing things different in their marriage, about the way they're showing up and about their whole dynamics. And that uncoachability, we see that over and over again as a roadblock to connection, a roadblock to getting that turnaround in the marriage that you actually want, right?
It's so true. And really the heart of it is if you can recognize that what you've been trying isn't working and not just sit there and blame the other person, because we see a lot of that. And we know that if people get on our phone and they're just pointing the finger at the other person, it's just her. She does this. She needs to do that. He's always been this way. He's that way. Like if you're just blame shifting, there's usually not a whole lot that can change. Yeah. But the beautiful thing is if you realize that you need to be coachable, a whole lot can actually change. Now, it's interesting. People don't just get to the place where they're like, with their arms crossed. They don't get there overnight. This isn't just like, they're sitting in righteous indignation because that's who they are. Usually it's taken a long time. Usually they've been trying in their marriage a lot of different things, a lot of different ways. And they've been praying even. They've been reaching out to God. They've read books. They've gone to a lot of resources. And sometimes they actually know a lot of what a marriage should look like, and they're not able to get there. And they can't even see why they're not able to get out of it. And namely, it's that they are not coachable. They're not there. There is the idea that there could be a different way, that they need to change, seems really, really foreign to us or to them, I should say.
Yeah. I mean, think about 20 plus years you were pastoring. Couples would come to your office in crisis. You would sit down with them, listen to their story. You'd offer them advice. And how many times were they just uncoachable about shifting how they think or feel or showing up in the marriage, and we've seen that over and over again. And it's when you're not open to a new way of thinking, first of all, because we believe the marriage problems always start in the battlefield of our mind. The enemy begins to lie to us, begins to seed those, sow those seeds of discontentment and contempt even in the mind, and those seeds grow. So if you're not open to a new way of thinking about your marriage, about your spouse, about yourself, about your situation, even about what conflict means and about how to approach things, that uncoachability is going to keep you stuck, and it will prevent you from getting that turnaround that you want. Many other people are also uncoachable about new habits, right? They don't want to put their phone down at the dinner table. They don't want to set aside time to start talking and opening their heart. They don't want to learn how to be an active listener. They don't want to be able to set new habits in terms of confessing their sin and really making things right in their heart and in their lives and in their minds. And that lack of being open in their habits and in their daily lives, it's really going to keep them stuck in the marriage as well.
Because it took a lot of years of bad habits, and maybe they didn't even realize that they were bad habits, but either personal bad habits or habits between the two of you, interpersonal bad habits. Either way, it took time to get you here. You didn't get here overnight. And so you have to change those habits for there to be real change.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we've also seen that uncoachability play out in terms of the skill set, right? Because we all know We've got to have good communication skills in a marriage. We've got to be able to navigate hard things and hard topics and even be able to resolve conflict without making it mean that everything is awful and my spouse is horrible and our situation is hopeless, right? But being not open to learning the skill set of good communication, of active listening, of resolving conflict can really keep you stuck, and it will prevent you from getting that turnaround if you're not willing to listen and be coachable in terms of learning those skills that you need for a healthy relationship.
It is so true. And I would just stack on top of that, that what really we see time and time and time again is people doubling down on using the skill sets that they have, or you might even say they're doubling down on the dysfunction that they have and they think is what they're supposed to do. And so for a lot of women, especially, it happens with men too, but especially a lot of women, is they will try to bring to the table what they think that their spouse needs from a woman's perspective. And if it's not working now, it's not going to work eventually. It's not going to take you doubling down on that to make it better. In fact, it's only going to make it worse. And so women will say to us all the time, like, I have been trying to really, really love him. But the problem is you've probably been using a skill set that applies to you and not to your spouse. And that's where coachability is really important too. And likewise too, it can also look like, well, I've really, really tried. It didn't work. So now I'm kind of giving up. And I'm not going to come back to the table until they change. That doesn't work either.
Right. Yeah, that's so true and so good, Scott. And the other place we see that uncoachability playing out is in terms of being open to feedback. When couples or individuals are just not open to constructive criticism or any kind of feedback in how they're communicating and how they're showing up and how their thoughts and beliefs are playing out in the marriage, that is a great way to stay stuck in your marriage, And we've seen that over and over again when people think that they're right and that they can't be wrong. And they're not open to the feedback. Oh yeah, I already know that. But here's what I'm actually going to do.
Right.
Like that type of attitude and that almost arms crossed attitude of just, I don't need any feedback. It's a great way to stay stuck, you guys. I mean, and we've seen it over and over again with people. But the thing that we have found that it does take to get a turnaround is that coachability. And sometimes it takes an openness and a willingness to try something new and maybe an unconventional route, because we've maybe tried counseling, we've tried the retreats or the books, or, just talking to our pastor, or we've tried all these other things that didn't work. And so, but it takes that openness, that being open to feedback, being open to being coachable, open to a new way of doing things. Because we don't want to argue if we think that this is going to be easy to turn a marriage around that's been bad for years, months, or decades, right? It takes that coachability, guys. So that's what we're here to share with you. Like, if you want to stay stuck, stay uncoachable. But if you are open and ready to get a turnaround in your marriage, coachability is that very first piece that it's got to be in place.
Yeah, it's so true. And, right along with that coachability, it's like we've seen it so many times where there are couples that really, really know the Bible's teaching on marriage.
Yeah.
They know what it should look like. My goodness, we talk to a lot of pastors and people in ministry and Bible teachers that they've been teaching on this stuff. And it gets it's very difficult a lot of times if you know a lot and it's not working still, and you don't know how to show up to your marriage and you don't know what to do about it. And it's like the only people you can blame, if you're not blaming yourself, is God and your spouse. Or I guess you could blame the circumstances too, like COVID happened. But still, the heart of it is you have to take ownership and say, the way I've done it isn't working. And that's what coachability looks like. And so that really reminds me of an amazing couple that just we just finished working with them, and they came to us really with a lot of things that they've gone through in their personal lives. They'd had quite a spiritual journey moving out of legalistic type of Christian experience really into walking in the grace of the gospel. And it led to a lot of confusion between the two of them. And when they came to us, it was hard for them to kind of let go and to really embrace coaching. But as they realized, as they let their guard down a little bit, and they realized that some of the coaching was helping them to see some of the blind spots and really applying to themselves shifts that needed to happen for there to be an amazing turnaround. And oh my goodness, did they have a turnaround?
Mhm.
And they just got back from an amazing weekend celebrating what God has done. They got off the phone with us just celebrating the amazing turnaround they got in their marriage, but just such thankfulness to us, and more than that, really to God, because they really got a connection with God in a powerful way together.
It was such a joy to walk the journey with that dear couple. And, when they came to us, the coachability was iffy, but they said, yes, we're willing to empty our cup. We're willing to show up and be open. And yet in the beginning, it was like, this triggers me and I don't want to do it that way. And as we just gently coached them and said, remember, let's be coachable. Let's be open to the process. It was amazing to watch as they let their guard down and they started opening their hearts. It was like they were able to resolve these past wounds and these hurts from years ago in their marriage, and really watch God heal their hearts, not only individually, but together, and to see like the joy come back into just day-to-day living, the joy to come back and connecting with each other, the connection they were able to make. And guys, it took that coachability of that beautiful couple. And now just to see like them and the flourishing that's going to come and is already in place in just a few short weeks, guys. And so we're here to tell you, like, if you want that turnaround, we do have something for you. We do have a masterclass. It's a free masterclass. It's helped thousands of people really start to make those shifts. And it's the 5 simple shifts that Christian couples can make to completely turn their marriage around quickly, recover intimacy, and fall back in love again. And you can find that at turnaroundmarriage.live. It's a 45-minute investment of time that will, if you are coachable, if you are open, you can really start to embrace some of those simple shifts and really start to get that turnaround in your marriage. That was the first step that this dear couple took when they started their turnaround journey as well.
It's so true. And I just had a couple reach out to me this morning, and they said that doing the masterclass was so transformative for the way that they understood their marriage. And so the first step in really understanding coachability is dive in with an eager heart to that masterclass, be open, be coachable with that. And my goodness, it could be the best 45 minutes you've ever invested in your marriage.
Yeah. You can again find it at turnaroundmarriage.live.